This week on One Crazy Story, comedian Nate Fridson joins us to talk about the time he almost got a DUI and more.
Because had he said that to me, I'd be like, yeah, schmucked, right?
Schmucked,
like, because I'm just
yeah.
a dumb white kid.
Right, yeah, you don't know.
I'm not Jewish. I don't know that's almost, that's like a really bad word.
You have no idea.
Or,
It's also like, it's a word that like, it was in like, they use it all the time in Mad Magazine, you know, they use the word schmuck a lot. It's
like, so you understand
Mel Brooks
why.
movies.
You
so
understand.
like, I know where it's seeped in. And this is like probably one of the more cultured police officers I'd ever met. If he knows Yiddish, I mean... It's just like
so funny.
he's
like,
taking in art, you know.
Oh,
and
you,
like,
you
know,
read Mad?
Hello and welcome to another edition of One Crazy Story. I'm your host, Nate Armbruster, and this week I'm talking with one of my favorite comedians, Nate Fridson. Now, why is Nate one of my favorite comedians? Is it because we have the same first name? Yeah, partially, sure. Yeah, I'm a little biased there. I think a lot of Nates are very funny, actually, and we talk a little bit about that towards the end of the podcast, but... Nate was kind enough to let me bother him between shows while he was in town performing at the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase. Nate's got an album out. It's called Best Guy So Far. You can go get that on iTunes. Stream it everywhere. Support my friend Nate. Follow him on Twitter, all that, Instagram, everything. All the links are in the description to this episode, so just scroll down, check it out, follow him, do all that. Go see him live. He's super funny. And Nate was kind enough to let me play a track from that album. So here it is.
My problem is I grew up in the suburbs. That's bad training for life. If you grew up in the suburbs, the only thing you learned how to do is live in the suburbs. That's it. Those skills don't really transfer anywhere else. Like if you're just not ready for like the interactions you're gonna have in a city. Like the other day I was hanging out outside my apartment building, just me and 4 white friends hanging out. And this black guy walks up to us and goes, and by the way, this is going to be the worst black voice you've ever heard. He goes, hey man. Hi there, fellas. He goes, sorry to interrupt, and I'm not trying to sound racist or anything, but I've noticed a lot of you white people moving into this neighborhood, and I was just wondering, is y'all artists or something? Is y'all artists or something? Like, he didn't even consider that we were there to buy drugs. Like, not even for a second. Is y'all artists or something? I didn't know that was a stereotype for white people. That's a new one for me. Because I walked past a group of black guys and had them all laugh at me. I didn't know there was a guy in the back going, check out this picture painting motherfucker right here. My man using light and shade to delicately portray the human experience. And shit. Why don't you paint me a picture? Why don't you spin around twice and paint me a portrait, you Tony Hawk looking motherfucker? How about that happen?
That was one of my favorite jokes off the album, and Nate was kind enough to let me share that with you. So if you like that sample of Nate's stand-up, go buy the album, support my friend. Also, if you enjoy anything I'm doing, you can always keep in touch with me on all the social media, at Nate Comedy, at One Crazy Story, everywhere. So, or if you want to email me directly, just email me at onecrazystory@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. So now, without further ado, enjoy this week's episode with myself and comedian Nate Fridson.
No, it's how it always is. You know, it's like you come home once a year, and you know, it's like I have to like pack seeing all these people into this short period of time.
Do you fly? Know? You fly back?
Yeah.
So so everybody's like, all right, what would you do? Fly in like Wednesday, and everybody's like, we gotta see him within these 3 days.
I flew in Tuesday, because I have a bunch of stuff to do at my folks' place. To like they're selling it, and so I gotta get ready.
Just life shit.
Yeah, just life shit. So it's like, but it's like in the middle of this, I have I have 5 shows to do.
Yeah, all very important shows.
Yeah,
like I'm
like headlining, and I'm trying to do well, and
like you care. You have to work.
Yeah, and there's like all these people who are like, hey man, come meet us for drinks. You're in town. We're gonna get hammered at 1.
Right.
Well, I can't.
So people don't get.
That.
They're like, you're a comic. You should be able to just party.
Just be drunk all the time.
Like Artie Lang or whatever.
Yeah, sure. Look how well it's working for him.
I know, right? They're like, yeah, just go party.
Look how healthy he is.
Isn't that how this works? I love the suit choice, by the way.
Thank you very much.
How long you been wearing the suit?
So far, this weekend.
Just like on the road, like the
yeah. I
the
mean, I'm
shows
trying
and
to
stuff?
like. I want to wear. I feel like a suit. Suit. It fits my act. You know. It's like it goes.
You look good up there.
Thank
I was
you.
like, oh shit.
I appreciate it. I feel like it works with my act, and I feel like, at some point,
if I'm knocking down the door of 40. I can't be. I shouldn't be up there in a hoodie.
Yeah, you don't want to be the hoodie comic at 40.
Like like I did in college, even though I still live like I do, like I did in college.
It does kind of command the roof. Like, I'm an adult.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I try to think about the more I do comedy, like the comics I've admired and the comics that it's just like, why would I, and like what I would want to do, like why would I want to listen to somebody in
I paid
like,
good money to come here.
Like if I'm coming out there, I'd want to,
I got a sitter.
The goal is just not to look like someone's boss.
Right. I like it.
Thanks, man.
So the whole theme of the show, I guess, is I call it One Crazy Story.
Right.
I'm sure you haven't listened to it. Not a big deal if you haven't. I don't care. The point is,
I've downloaded every episode.
Thank you.
I've deleted them.
So
all.
the whole thing, that's okay. It still counts.
Yeah, I'm just trying to help you.
It still helps my
I
stats.
just want the numbers.
So I always ask the guests to come in with some sort of specific experience from their life that's kind of a little ridiculous or whatever, or crazy, whatever that may be.
I think, I try to think about if you want to put it in the terms of experience, it's a crazy, it's always like a rush of memories when I come back here to Michigan. Like I think about starting comedy here and doing the road and how much you put your life in danger at all times.
Because how many years did you spend here as a comic before? Because you started here, so you've been going. Before you moved to New York? How many years did you spend here?
I did comedy in Detroit for 6 years.
Yeah,
and then
so you were. But you had also been all over Michigan, right?
I had been all over Michigan. It's like the way I think Jesse Pop put it this way, that in Michigan you can work the road from home.
Yeah.
You can it's so centrally located to all these one-nighters and things that you can get going pretty early. But I was doing
everything, right?
I was, as much as I could. I just I needed to get out there, and I didn't want. I was very obsessed with not moving backwards. That I wanted, once I was featuring, I was like, well, I want to feature all I want that to be all the work that I do is featuring, and it's never that way right away. And then the first time you headline, it's like, well, I'm not going back, but then you have to. But I think about that time. I think about all of the risks that I took. I think about when I think about how many times I drove drunk back from just the sheer number, and I somehow it's I've always thought that it was almost like a comedian's rite of, a Michigan comic's rite of passage to get a DUI. It was almost like I didn't get I never got a DUI, and I almost feel like it's my Michigan comedy experience is somewhat incomplete.
Yeah, right. Right?
It's very weird. Everyone I know is they had to factor that into where they moved to.
Yeah,
they had to think about all that stuff. People move to New York. A lot of people move to New York because you never have to drive there, so you can get a passport or a ID, and you can still get into bars and continue your alcohol problem. But you
you at least won't put you might put lives in danger.
Yeah,
still,
you're always if you
alcohol is still very dangerous.
If you have a real problem, you can always put someone in danger.
But you're not driving a car at least.
But there were there was some I'm sorry that one crazy one escapes me, but I can think of a few.
We
can talk
them.
And
we got all of
get
them.
into it.
Yeah. So just DUIs in general. Because I've got one.
You've got one, right?
Yeah.
And you seem like the most wholesome person in the world.
I wish the cop thought.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't even leaving a gig. That's the thing. Is it's funny when you say that, because you meet. I feel like every comic just about has one.
Yeah.
Or a close call. Or something fucked up.
Yeah.
That I'm like, well, at least I just have the DUI. If the DUI is the worst thing.
Yeah.
But I was just leaving. It was a Tuesday after a class.
Yeah.
And I was I went to the bar and I just left. It wasn't even, it's not even I didn't even earn it. Nothing.
Well, isn't that that's
not that
weird,
I should.
That's a weird ass thing when people are it's quitting time. We're going right to the bar.
Right.
What is
it? What is it?
What is your home situation like? That you I gotta tie one on before I see my kids.
And I was so young. That's the thing is we're just in our I was 21.
I'm 35.
I didn't even. I was legally drinking for a few months, and I had already been fuck. I can't even.
Yeah.
Maybe it's good that it happened when it happened. We'll just leave it at that. Maybe it. Thank God I didn't. Nothing worse
You know,
happened.
I guess if
But
you
when you
have
think-
to have one, the earlier you get it out of the way is good.
kind of woke me up. I'm like, maybe I should be careful,
Yeah.
But then you talk to like comedians, and I'm like, dude, that happened. You were in like Montana or something, or
right.
like, and it's like it was like this horrible experience.
Oh my God, the fear of it happening on the road is like that. Like that was like anytime I would work a gig, and they'd be like, yeah, the hotel is a freeway. 2 freeway stop. Like what?
Yeah.
You're sending me on the freeway to go. What?
Yeah. You know what?
I've been
what I
drinking
do
for free all night, and you're putting me on 3 stops away from the. All right, but you know you do it. But I was coming home from one. This really stuck out to me. I was coming home from one. It was in Ann Arbor. I was doing a show here. It was not this club, Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase. By the way, if you listen to the podcast, you don't know it. It is my favorite club in the country.
It's great.
Please continue to support it if you do already, and if you've never, come check it out. But I was coming home from a show at a different place, like some one-nighter somewhere, and I got pulled. I turned down a street. I don't remember what street it was, but I got pulled over, and I'd had a couple drinks, and I did not like. It was that kind of hubris, you know, where you're just like, I got this.
Yeah.
I know this area.
But deep down,
we're fine.
Deep down, you're also like, I shouldn't be driving this car right now.
And it was evident that I should not be driving the car because not only was the road under construction, so it's down to 1 lane. It was a one-way street as such. It was a one-way street all the time, but there was no way to even go around it.
Yeah.
And I was going the wrong way.
Oh God.
And so that is like the worst situation.
Yeah.
And
how do you explain yourself
to anyone?
To anybody, not even someone of authority. Just hey, you're going the wrong way.
Right. He's like, oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
sorry.
Like, it's the middle of the night, and you're going the wrong way down a one-way street through a construction site.
Yeah.
And that's, that's like almost.
Yeah.
That's
drunk or
almost
not,
like drunk,
that's a DUI.
That's almost like DUI bingo. I mean, that's like every kind of, like, unless like the only thing I'm missing is like I wasn't asleep at the wheel. That is the one that should be what it was. It's like it hit everything.
Yes.
You know, it hit everything. So of course I get pulled over, and I immediately start freaking out. I'm sure I made a bargain with God that I did or did not believe in at the time.
You're like, I'll do anything to just get out of this safely.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So I'm there, I'm composed, and the officer comes up, checks the license and registration, and thank goodness I didn't have any bench warrants or anything out, nothing, no one looking for me. So he's going, and then he comes back to the car, and he says, to me, he goes, you really got to be careful with this, because you're driving like this down a construction site, the opposite way down a one-way street. You can really get schmucked coming the other way.
Schmucked.
So he said schmucked. Now,
did you?
Now this is for those your listeners might not know. This is a Yiddish word. Schmuck is a Yiddish word. It's not a verb.
And you're Jewish.
I was born and raised Jewish.
Yeah.
Growing up, it was like the worst word. This was not a word I was allowed to say around my grandmother.
This is a bad word.
It means, I believe it translates to donkey dick. And
really?
It's so it's to say that it doesn't sound like it should be the worst word, but in Yiddish, it's like it's an inappropriate word to say around.
So to someone of
anyone.
that culture would be like, what the fuck did you just say to me?
Right, exactly.
But this is also probably like a white cop.
It was
like
a white cop.
Just like, this is just me. Just
so
I think I'm being silly.
Yeah, I somehow was able to keep my wits about me in this moment, because there's a lot of questions that you have when the cop says you can get schmucked going the other way.
Yeah.
First of all, is this a Jewish cop? Is this one of the only Jewish cops that we know? The ones who pulled over Mel Gibson somehow had like 2 Jewish cops. They were Jewish cops. That was why it became a big deal, because he was being anti-Semitic, and they were like, "Oh, we're police officers. Actually, you can't do that to us." But he can. He got away with all of it. He still has his career. Whatever. But I mean, but like those are the only 2 I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
Like I have no one in.
You're right.
No one in my family is a cop. No one.
And well,
in
you know, I mean,
anyone I've
you were
ever,
raised Jewish. You know a lot of Jewish people.
was raised in a Jewish community.
You think you would know at least one
I've never
Jewish
met
cop,
one. I've met a Jewish Marine. That's the closest. That is the closest.
Wow, I never
And-
even thought about Jewish people in the military. Too.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird when it happens. It's not really our scene.
Yeah.
You know, we don't really get in there. It's not a thing you go into. It's just
No.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a different thing when it was World War II and you were like fighting for your team. You know,
Yeah,
it was like
you had
to represent,
Yep.
and you also were forced to by the government.
Yeah.
So it was like it made more sense to do it. But in this moment, it's just like I remember
so many emotions.
I remember I'm just like I'm like at once I'm like relieved that it seems like
you're about to get out of
seems like
this.
I'm about to get out of this, right? And but that I had this moment where I was like, do I correct him?
Oh,
Is this-
man. This is like the ultimate like drunk driving like test, like
Right.
sobriety test.
Right.
Because it's like, how do I handle this here? Do I correct him and then be kind of a dick because he could be pissed if I'm like, but then that might give him away that you're drunk. You're like,
Right,
maybe I should
exactly.
just not say anything.
Exactly. So exactly the problem, because this is the question you have. It's like,
Yeah.
because
had he said that to me, I'd be like, yeah, schmucked, right?
Schmucked,
Like,
oh,
because
man.
I'm just
Yeah.
a dumb white kid.
Right, yeah, you don't know. You
I'm
don't
not
know.
Jewish. I don't know that's almost, that's like a really bad word.
you have no idea.
Or,
It's also like it's a word that like it was in like they use it all the time in Mad Magazine. They use the word schmuck a lot. It's
Like, so you understand
Mel Brooks
why-
movies.
you
So like I
understand-
know where it's seeped in, and this is like probably one of the more cultured police officers I'd ever met. If he knows Yiddish, I mean, it's just like
So funny.
he's
Like, I
taken
love-
in art,
Oh,
and
you-
like
you read
or
Mad?
or something like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, how did you learn this word?
right.
This like mid-Michigan,
Dude, I
mid
didn't
to southeast
I didn't
Michigan.
even know. Well, I mean, I'm sure it's by looking at me, you probably would assume I
Well,
wouldn't know that
you
it
have
was such
probably heard the word and just not internalized.
I've heard people call someone a schmuck
Yeah,
and never
yeah.
thought that it was that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's
but
like
now,
it's like the worst thing you can call another Jew.
But what
it's
if
like,
I-
you're like you schmuck?
but
And
what
I'm
if
like,
I said that? I mean, I don't think I've ever called someone a schmuck.
I don't think so. It's not
So-
easy to say.
No,
So
it's weird. It's
doesn't roll off the
uncomfortable.
tongue.
It is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But also, like, what if I accidentally said that to someone who's Jewish? I don't know who's Jewish.
Yeah, they would probably smile. Honestly, it would just be like,
So
they'd be
you're
like,
just
huh?
a piece of shit.
They would look at you and be surprised. You don't have that look.
That's nuts. I didn't realize that.
yeah.
So anyway, I'm
So
sorry.
yeah, no.
As-
This is what it's for.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing.
This is blowing my mind right
talk.
now.
So we.
So don't say schmuck.
There are also worse words to say, but
Well,
I mean,
I'm sure we could figure those ones out, right?
Yeah, I mean, those ones are
I think
listed places.
I have.
But
Just go on Twitter.
right, so yeah, it's that question. It's that question you have, like, do I? And this is, I guess, how I knew. It's like kind of like a field sobriety test that happens in the driver's seat,
Mhm.
because you're like, I had this moment where I was like, I have never been able to correct a police officer. This is truly, I've always like had a, somewhat disdain for authority.
Mhm.
And so this police officer is wrong, and I don't have any warrants, and I am a white person, and he is a white person, and this is a situation where maybe I could get away with this.
Yeah,
But
as long as you're nice about it,
as long as I'm nice about it.
because you are drunk.
Right. Because I have had a couple.
Yes.
And I definitely, would have, I don't know. I think I really would have sounded drunk. So I was able to hold myself back. And it's
Oh.
like it was like a moment of growth for me.
Yeah.
It seems like a small
That
thing.
is- no, that's a
It really
big
does
thing.
seem like a small thing, but to realize.
in that moment,
Yeah. To realize in that moment that like it's not about this right now.
Right.
It doesn't matter that you know this and he doesn't know this. It was like I was, early 20s, thinking I had the world by the balls, doing
Right.
comedy, and I held back.
Yeah.
And I made it to wherever I was going. I think my girlfriend's house or her parents' house or something. And I almost like I started like shaking. Like I started, because
it's terrifying.
he let me go. But
being pulled over drunk is the word. It's terrifying. 'Cause you're
It's
like,
truly terrifying.
Yeah.
And it's like this, I know that this is like, when you break down the elements of this, it is not a really crazy story, But what was happening inside me, what was happening in my mind was so, it was like an argument with my, if you could picture like 4 different viewpoints, like you could do it nicely, you could do it gently. You could be like, hey, for future reference.
Yeah.
That's not what that word means. It's not a verb and you shouldn't use it that way. But also, what are the odds I'm going to nail that,
Yeah.
What are the odds I'm going to be,
Especially-
and especially me, like, this is probably, like, the sunniest and warmest I have been in
Yeah.
my life, and I'm still kind of a prick.
Yeah.
So, like,
It's not going to come off like...
it's definitely, yeah.
And dude, I mean, any cop, nice, even the best cop out there is going to be like, you just correct me?
Did you just,
What? Why?
Did you just correct me?
Are you telling me I'm wrong? Are you telling me I can't say schmuck?
Right.
Which is also, I mean, that word means something entirely different to you than it has to me until now. where I'm like, I didn't know.
It mostly means idiot,
Yeah.
because we like, you schmuck.
You get it, but like it triggered something where you're like, nope, you can't say that.
Yeah,
Why are you saying that?
In me, I was like,
and that means something to you.
And I wonder what he thought when I wonder, because like I've always thought that I had this like incredible poker face.
Yeah.
I've
But
always
you
thought
really don't.
I definitely do not. And like my poker record would reflect
yeah.
that. But I've always thought that like people have no idea what's going on in here. But I am sure that my face was like
Gave it away.
confused
Did you just call him-
and
did you say schmuck?
offended, sort of, but not really. But just like. Like I wonder what contortions my face made in front of. So I hope that he saw that and thought, that meant something to him.
Yeah.
I just had an impact on this kid's life.
Yeah, right?
But
Like in his mind, he was like, that's right. I said you could get schmucked. And the kid was like,
and
you know what? You're right. I could get
it
schmucked.
meant something to him.
So like, I think both of you had some sort of moment of like,
Some miscommunication,
Right,
complete
well, like-
disconnect.
like you learned that control or like whatever it took for you to get through that moment,
Right.
for you.
You're right.
And then for him, it was like, I just taught this kid,
Right, yeah.
I changed that
I
kid's
just-
life.
and, like-
I told him, because in his mind, he's probably a good dude. Just
He
hey, you
definitely.
might
Here's
get,
the thing.
You could get
he
shot.
definitely is a good dude because this was a slam dunk. I'm
Yeah.
doing community
DUI,
service. Like I am.
How did you not know?
Off, like, Your Honor, he was driving the wrong way down
A one-way
street that's under construction. It's like, if my lights were off, then I'm definitely going to jail. You know?
That's like the only
Like,
thing you did right was
the
like that
only-
you turned your lights
The
on.
only thing I did right was not criticizing.
Yes.
It's truly it. And this is not saying don't criticize cops.
Right. Yeah,
I don't-
especially modern times.
I don't
Let's-
care. Criticize cops all you want. This is not
But there's
about reverence for cops. But this guy, might be too nice, I think. Might be too nice. I can't believe I'm saying that.
You know what's
but
funny is like this guy might have been cool enough to where if you're like, man, that word schmuck just threw me off.
he had maybe
Like if had you had been just like nice about it, like hands at 10 and 2,
Right.
like doing the
Right, doing
standard,
all the
like,
things.
Yep, doing everything right, just so you know, schmuck.
just so you know, just for future reference.
Yes.
That's not what that is. But like I picture like myself doing that in my head, and like in my head I'm always like
They're just
burping
getting-
before I say it. You
Yeah,
know,
they're just
like,
getting, like-
excuse me.
Then you're just getting beat.
Yeah, and then like also like you don't want to like breathe more at the cop.
No.
I'm not trying to like send more booze breath out the window right to his face.
What's funny is because you've never actually gotten the DUI.
No,
right?
I have been pulled over drunk more than once.
That's the thing is like
And-
I have been also even before
Yeah.
my actual DUI, where I was like somehow got through that.
yeah.
I definitely because like once you realize how somebody looks drunk, I'm
Right.
like, there's no way that guy did not know.
Right. He definitely knew.
Any grown like there's
And-
no way like any adult cop or not, you can tell.
Right,
Come
exactly.
on, I'm a fucking kid.
Right.
Like,
and clearly the elephant in the room here
Yes.
is that I'm a white person.
Yes.
Is that this would
Yes.
not happen
Exactly.
for anyone else. This is the
Yeah.
the clearest example of privilege.
Yeah.
That I was breaking 3 laws at once.
I mean,
And
you could have at least written you up
I
for
was-
like wrong way or something.
Give me
like he
a
could
slap on the wrist.
Yeah, texting and driving, no.
Something.
but like
make
anything.
something up.
Yeah.
Impeding traffic. They throw that out for anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like they'll give anybody an impeding traffic. It doesn't. And it's just like he was just like, "Good day."
Good day, sir.
Good. and then I seriously, I went, got to my girlfriend's parents' house, and I like started like violently shaking. I was that like, it's like repressed nervousness or something, or anxiety. But this is just one of the times. Like the other time is not like notable. The only other notable time a cop has let me go is when I was in high school. I was 16. I was driving to a rehearsal for. I was in plays when I was in high school. I was in theater, so I was driving to a theater rehearsal, and it was raining. I had a car full of people who were also in the play. I was driving them there, and the car hydroplaned, and I knocked down like the brick sign of a subdivision. So like you know how like subdivisions show like what this town is, and so I like plowed through it like Kool-Aid Man through it, like car-sized hole in the thing.
Wow.
Just completely.
Now at 16, you're like, holy
up.
shit!
And I was like, I just I didn't know.
Yeah.
And the cop, so I'm there. Like again, this is open and shut case.
Yes.
16-year-old chance to teach him a lesson. You know, you'd be like, you got to be careful out there. You can't be taking these turns tight when it's raining and it's hydroplaning. You can't do that, and you have to be careful, head on a swivel, all this stuff. And I'm in the back of the cop car. And no joke, the dude turns around.
Put you in the back.
Put me in the back of the cop car. And I'm sitting there. My friends are like standing in the rain. And I am, and I'm in the cop car. And he turns around and he goes, listen, I did a lot of stupid stuff when I was a teenager. And it made it really difficult to become a police officer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you go. In case you ever want to become a cop someday. This one's
on
God. Me, I guess.
For what?
So like what are you like the thing? It's like you better like. It was just a good thing. It's a good thing I didn't tell him where I was headed because he would have been like, "Oh, that kid is definitely not going to become a police." No one goes from plays to police officer.
You.
I don't know a single person I was in plays with.
Were you in theater?
I was in theater. I did theater. All through. I was not a great kid, and my parents threatened to take me out of high school if I didn't clean my act up. So they were gonna like throw me in trade school.
Did you like it?
I did.
Because it's not that. I mean,
it brought it.
Did it inspire you to do stand up in any way?
No, I always wanted to do stand up.
Yeah.
I always knew that I wanted to do stand up, but it got me to better manage that part of my personality.
Yeah.
And so I think it helped me mature a lot, and I learned a lot about projecting and things go wrong on stage, and you just got to be in the moment and you got to do it, and it's really it's really good for that.
Yeah.
And it also taught me that I would rather be accountable for myself on stage and not for other people.
Oh, absolutely.
So I like that I work alone.
I think that's my favorite thing about stand up.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, you should do improv.
Right.
Just try it.
I mean, I find it also from being in bands when I was in I used to play in bands.
You play music?
I play music. I used to play bass guitar, and so I guess I still kind of do.
I'm learning
but
so much about you.
Yeah, man, I'm a fascinating
And
white.
people think,
Man, what a background on this guy, huh? Grew up in the suburbs. Did theater in high school. Had an instrument. Got away with a lot of shit. What a story. 1 in a million. And by that I mean there are a million.
We have so much in common. And I'm just realizing we have so much in common. I'm just not
besides
Jewish.
our first names. Crazy.
Dude,
it's crazy.
Oh, you know what's funny is once a year I get an email that's meant for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I always have to be like, look, I'm Nate Armbruster.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. And what's even better is Nate. I don't know if this happens to you at all, and I think I've finally had some closure on it just because I was blown away. Is Nate Bargatze?
Yeah,
probably arguably the current most successful Nate.
I think he's the best Nate comedian.
He's amazing.
I think he's probably the best Nate comedian ever. I mean,
right.
I have to go look.
He's amazing.
I have to look at a list, but Nate Bargatze is.
He's like killing it right now, and he's also
not just right now.
Super funny.
He's
just always been very, very
and original stuff, and has his voice is unique, and the way that he talks and his rhythm is so good, and he's
amazing.
I really admire him.
Me too, and so I get
and not just because his name's Nate.
No, and that's the thing is like that's just like a fun thing.
It's
like,
cool.
Hey,
I like that about
and
that.
we have the same name. You know, I could be you one day. Like that's I look up to you as the Nate.
It's like if your name was Red with 2 D's, you'd probably love Red Fox. You know, you'd be like, that's my guy.
Yeah. You know who the best Red is?
It's Red Fox. Still.
It's Red Fox.
Yeah.
But I get emails meant for Nate Bargatze all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all the time.
Wow.
all the time.
So what are people doing? They're just typing, do you have like nate@gmail.com? Like,
Yeah, so
you got
I'll tell you this, because this is what's funny is I have NateComedy@gmail.com.
well, that's why.
It's very so,
Yeah.
but also shouldn't you know who the fuck you're emailing when
I
you're
would.
dealing with
I
the
would
money
want
that
to.
Nate
Yeah,
makes?
if you're sending an offer out, I'd want to know.
So, and that's the thing is like I get like legit emails, and and this is what's funny is like when you think about the level of the level that he's at, you would think things run efficiently, right? Like at least the people that are hiring him. So,
Right.
You wouldn't think that I would be getting all of his emails. I got an email, and I'll show you it too, because it just blew my mind, and I kept it. I'm gonna keep
Right.
it forever because it's just so
You have
funny to
to.
me. I got an email directly from Louis C.K., his personal email. Nate, would love to talk to you about this project, the whole thing. Send me your number.
Yeah.
We'll set up a meeting. And I got the email. I got the notification, and I was like, I'm on his email list.
Sure.
So I was like, oh, just an email. I ignored it.
Right.
And then like I got an email from Dave Becky's office. I was like, who the fuck? Why is Dave Becky? Why am I getting an email? And so like I read that email, and it was a follow up to Louis' email, and then I go, oh shit, that was actually Louis. So I go open that email,
And you read it, and you're like, what?
Yeah. And I responded, hey, just funny story, just because I was I'm curious. I mean, he's not gonna respond because this is before everything.
Yeah.
That, but.
So he didn't like follow up with like a
No, because I was
like a gif of him.
He wasn't like
him jacking off.
He wasn't like
just like
but I
him
was
standing in a doorway.
I was like funny story. You might want to just make sure you have some money saved up
right
for the next year. But no, he I just sent back like, I'm not Nate Bargatze. Anyway.
Yeah, and he didn't respond to that.
Anyway, this is kind of hilarious, right? And no response.
No response?
No. I was hoping he'd be like,
you'd be like, yeah, you respond, and then like you like strike up a
so I was
relationship.
hoping, that's the thing is I'm like, this is my big break.
Right.
Or also I was like also thinking maybe he just Googled me and watched a YouTube video and was like, oh.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that like an incredible thing that you would like that you're but like isn't that an incredible thing like what you're saying afterwards? He said
like
he
if
Googled you.
so I responded like, nah, my name's not Nate Bargatze.
Oh, okay.
Like
I see.
In my because of my
see where
it's
my
got
brain
name.
took that to was like here's where my megalomania would take that to would be like I'd be like he heard about me. He wrote Bargatze, but he meant Fridson.
This is the thing. It's fate.
It's just meant. This is how it happens. There's like some story I heard about it's like an old Hollywood story about like a actress was discovered because a producer liked the way she looked in a sweater at a diner, and they're like that's like it can happen at any. The point is to be like it can happen anywhere. It's like this is my internet age. It's happening.
Yes.
It's just they're gonna see me. He saw my shitty YouTube clip at Union Hall in Brooklyn, and he was like, "I'm gonna make this kid a star."
Yeah, right.
That's where I would have taken it.
Yeah,
but
I was just
I'm
like,
an
nope.
idiot.
He watched my. No, this tells you about the difference between us. Is I was like, he saw my. He went YouTubed me, and they're just making fun of me right now. No. And then because what's even better is Jeff Horst last week or the week before ended up opening at the Fox for like they did that 4-person tour.
Yeah.
And Jeff Horst opened the show or whatever, and I texted Jeff. I go, dude, I just need some closure on this. I go, tell Nate I got an email from Louis C.K. that was meant for him, and I just want to tell him for some reason. He just has to know that there's another Nate because this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so I sent him like screenshots of the email and everything, and our email is one letter off.
That's incredible though. That's amazing.
I'll show you the email.
That's just a great illustration of how much we overthink, how much we overestimate everyone else in this business. Like this business is like any other.
Yeah.
There are some people who do it really well. There are some people who are super thorough, and there are some people who are not that, and they don't do it. And there are so many comedy clubs and so many comedy venues and so many agents and so many managers and other comedians that you're just inevitably going to get people who are not thorough. And I'm not saying Louis C.K. and Dave Becky aren't thorough, but it can be any level of thorough. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's
like
or like I mean, and who wouldn't have who would think that there's some guy in Michigan right now with probably the easiest email.
Right.
Like with a pretty uncommon name in comedy, at least.
I guess so. Yeah.
Like uncommon enough. There's not a lot.
Uncommon enough. Yeah, there really aren't a lot.
That
it's like
many
you,
Nates.
me, Bargatze.
I'm sure there's a few others.
I mean
but
Nathan
like,
McIntosh, but
yeah,
he goes by
Nathan Timmel.
but he goes by Nathan.
Yeah, Nathan Timmel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as like but I have a pretty just across the board the most popular email provider.
And the thing
and
is,
then like 2 words, and it's like.
And the thing about it is, now that they've sent the email, every time they try to email Nate Bargatze, yours comes up.
I kind of,
yours
still
still
after,
comes up, and it's like, listen, it's nice to just be in the pool. You know? Who knows?
And after,
who knows?
But it's just interesting,
right? And now you're eager. Now you're very eager to work with them. Now it's like, yeah, now I wanna.
Now I'm part of the conversation.
You are.
I'm like, Louie, when are you getting back out there, man? You gonna hit the road soon?
You're part of the Me Too conversation
I
now.
am.
You are.
I'm 2 degrees.
You are. You're connected.
Well, actually, I have a direct line to that man.
You do. You really do.
If you're that famous, do you change your email when a weird feature act from the Midwest hits you up? Or do you just ignore it and go? Because I did respond and I was nice. I wasn't like weird about it.
I guess you could.
I was just like, funny story.
But
I'm not Nate Bargatze.
But the thing is, you've made all these connections, so you can't like just be like, I'm not gonna. That's how you know all these people. It's like getting a new phone number for no reason.
That is true.
I think if he's gonna get a new email, it's because of the legal problems.
Yeah,
I would say
probably. There's probably more to it. Once you hit that threshold of.
But I don't know from that.
Fame and fortune. Yeah, interesting. It's a weird world we live in, Nate.
Boy, isn't it?
Thanks for doing the podcast.
Oh, my pleasure, man. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this.
Did you really have fun? I feel bad. I feel like I kind of pressured you into doing it.
What are you talking about? You asked me and I said yes.
Well, that's good. I'm
glad consented.
You said yes.
That puts a real bow on it.
It does.
You asked me. I said sure. I'd love to do it.
Yes. So where can people find you online? I know you got an album out.
I got an album out,
which is I own.
Oh, thank you very much.
And by own, I mean I bought it.
That means a lot to me. Thank you very much.
I ain't that guy that I'm not.
Oh man, that's.
I'm not the kind of guy that just says, "Hey Nate, can I put that on my laptop real quick? I'll give you it right back. I'll give it right back to you.
I need that ride home." I appreciate that. Yeah, I have an album out called Best Guy So Far. You can find it on streaming services and iTunes and all that, Amazon, everything. You can find me on on Twitter at Nate Fridson, NateFridson, and you can find me on Instagram at Fridskins, Fridskins. That is a nickname given to me by Old Dirty Bastard's son.
For real? Literally?
Literally.
No
young Dirty Bastard.
Really?
Yeah. I happened upon a video shoot and asked him if he would
upon.
Yeah, it's in Brooklyn. That shit happens. It's just he was just there. He was doing
Are you
a thing.
Kidding me?
And he so he was doing a video shoot. And I asked him, we were doing promos for the album, and so I asked him to do a promo, and he could not get my name right, so he just eventually said, just settled on Fridskins.
That is amazing.
And so I have a Wu-Tang name, kind of.
That's like the truest Wu-Tang name. It's not like a name generator.
No, it's from the bastard's mouth.
Jesus Christ, that is amazing.
So that's great. And so find me on that. And I host a show at Union Hall called Dark Spots, where comics do dark material. And come check that out. It's quarterly show at Union Hall. And they're calling my name in the back.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we should wrap this up.
All right.
So thank you, Nate. And I'll make sure I put links to all that
Appreciate
shit
it, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.